So this is, I guess, take two on on the home buyer workshop, because we were doing one on Saturday and the live cut out, and I had a few people that were like, well, I only got 3 out of the 10 steps. So we are going to record this one. So we will have the live, and then we'll also have a recorded video as well. So yay. All right. Well, I am not alone here today. I actually have very cool people. We are going to introduce you to your home buying team, because you really do actually get a whole team when you purchase a home. You cannot purchase a home by yourself. So let's go ahead and have your realtor come up and say hi. This is Maureen.
Hi, Maureen Marr.
So what is it that you do when they call you?
I help you navigate between the person selling the house and the person giving you the money for the house. I'll be your liaison. So I can help you with a lender. I can help you look for houses, introduce you to some cool places to have coffee.
Keep into the timelines, all that stuff.
Yeah, right.
Okay, and then we have Debbie. Debbie is a good friend of mine, and she's your financial person. She's your financial guru, basically, to answer all the money questions, because we don't do that part.
We have a few of those, right?
Yes.
We have a few of those. I'm Debbie Cowan. I'm with Prime Lending. So I think this is going to be an amazing opportunity for you guys to hear about those 10 steps that Andrea is going to go through. But also, just remember, if you think you have to have 20% down, we want to definitely go over the options for you, because we have so many very great products for you that will allow you to have some down payment assistance to help you with your closing costs, help you with your down payment. So those are available, especially for first-time home buyers, that we're going to go over today.
Awesome.
Great.
Very cool. Okay, and we will have all the information on how to get a hold of Debbie and Maureen and our offices and all of that, in case you have any questions or you want to intro them to your team. Okay, so here we go. This is our little handy dandy workbook, and we have all sorts of information for you and all sorts of stuff. So if you would like any of the information that we have here, go ahead and send us an email, and we will go ahead and send you all of the worksheets, the workbooks, the homebuyer information, as far as Daddy's information, Maureen's information, home inspectors, surveyors, all the stuff. It has all of our recommended everything in there. So just send us an email and we'll get that taken care of for you. Let's see, I think that's it. Yeah, the email address is GER.ExpectMore@gmail.com, just in case I forget that later. All right, so your guide to buying a home in Florida, which is a little bit different than pretty much everywhere else in the world. It is very strange here. Our laws are a little bit different than some of the other states out there, I think. So we have these things called like home buyer or homestead exemptions, and I don't know, just all sorts of different stuff. So the basic steps to buying a home in Florida, we're going to go ahead and just get started with those. It's not that complicated if you've done it before. If you haven't done it before, it might seem a little overwhelming, but that's why you have a team to help you out with that kind of stuff. Wow, we've got Miguel and Mello. Hello. We got a whole slew of people on here. Okay, so first thing, why? First thing you're going to want to figure out is, why do you want to buy a house? That is extremely important. You want to figure out why it is going to be in your best interest to purchase a home. One of the things that I will go ahead and send out to you is a form that makes you understand renting versus buying. And it literally breaks it down exactly how much you're going to be spending if you continue to rent versus what you're going to be making by owning a home. So huge, huge difference. Absolutely, renting is important to do short term. It is a terrible idea to do that long term. That is not a long-term plan. And there's no security in that at all, because at any given time, even if you are paying your rent for years and years on time, at any point the owner could pass away, or they could decide to sell it, or what we saw a couple of tenants come into us that said, hey, I have 2 weeks to move into a place because the owner decided that they want their son to live in this house. This house was bought for him, and they've just been renting it out until he moved into it, and now he's ready to move into it. So we have to go, and we weren't planning for this, so we don't know what to do. In Florida, you get 30 days notice. So not only do you have to move your entire house, but you also have to find another house. You have to pay your security deposit, your first month's rent, possibly your last month's rent, pet fees, all the stuff. And that's if you even can find a house in your price range in the area that you want. So it is very, very, very expensive. Right now, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, just average house is going in Marion County for about $1,600 to $1,800 a month. If you times, let's say, we're going to say a nice way, $1,600 a month, we're going to times that by 3 because that's your first month's rent, security, and last month's rent. That is what the bare minimum that it takes to move. That's not even cost like the application fees. That's not going to cost the pet fees if your pet is even accepted. There's just a whole bunch of stuff. So keep that in mind. It's like well over $5,000 to go ahead and just consider moving. That's not even renting a U-Haul. That's just the actual, like, I would really like some keys, please. Yeah, that's a little bit crazy. And then every single month that you pay your rent on time does not help you with your credit at all. And as you're paying that, it goes to somebody else's mortgage. So you're paying down their mortgage. You're paying a mortgage either way. It's just not yours. You're paying literally 100% interest, essentially. So getting all of that figured out is a really big why. It is, why in the world do you want to buy a home? Well, you want to do it for your financial security and stability, and you want to also save some money, for crying out loud. Everybody that bought houses, I don't know, anybody that has bought houses within the 5 to 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, they have made substantial amounts of money because the house prices have gone up considerably. So if they bought a house, I don't know, 6 years ago, they've probably made $100 grand just by being in a house because the house is now worth that much more. Okay. So the next thing, what is your dream home? Take a few minutes and write down what you want to come home to. What is really important to you? Is it a fenced backyard? Is it a huge yard? Is it acreage? Do you want to have a horse? I mean, these are possibilities here. Do you want to have a swimming pool? Do you want a really big, massive, brand new kitchen? Do you absolutely hate white countertops? Like, what are the things that are really important to you? So definitely take a few things and then figure out which ones are needs versus wants. Like, you absolutely have horrible allergies and you absolutely have to have tile flooring or wood flooring or something like that. You cannot have carpet. Okay, well, that's going to go into one of the needs because it's a health concern for you. Cool. Go ahead and scribble that down. If you absolutely hate tile flooring and it's cold and you don't ever want to touch it or whatever, okay, scribble that down. We're going to go ahead and just figure out what your needs and your wants are for your home. And if you're watching the video instead of the live, hit pause on any of this and then just go ahead and scribble those things down and then just continue on when you're ready. All right. The next thing we're going to ask is when. So you got the why, the what, and the when. When do you want your keys? What I normally recommend is go ahead and figure out the exact date that would be absolutely perfect for you. It doesn't have to be like tomorrow, obviously, or even this year, but write down the exact date. It would be absolutely wonderful for you to get keys to your house, that date. And then please share that date with the people that are helping you to purchase a home. That is the main thing you also have to do, is pick your fantasy league team, basically. Who is going to be helping you? So if you want to have Maureen help you, she's going to be able to look for the houses that have your needs and your wants in the price range that you're looking for. And then Miss Debbie over here, she'd be able to actually get you the price that you're actually eligible for and figure out what you're going to need to do in order to qualify for those houses. She answers all those questions. Realtors are not the money people. We are the open the door people. We get to go look. We get the fun stuff. We're the shoppers. Like, we get to go look at all the fun houses. We keep you on your timelines because there's some very specific dates that you have to be aware of. All of that stuff. But we don't touch the money portion. We just get you the people that do. We basically coordinate your team, your contracts, your timeline, all that stuff so that you get the keys on or around the day that you're really wanting them. Take a moment and write down what your biggest fears are as well. Why have you not purchased a home yet? It's kind of interesting to see what people write down, and if you ever compare that list with other people that are renting or living with family or something like that, those questions or those answers are normally all the same. They don't think they qualify. They don't think that their credit is good enough. They don't think that that they can, or they don't know the process, or it's overwhelming, or they're going to get to it eventually. All of these things are fears or things that stop them from doing it. When you talk to somebody like Debbie, she's going to tell you yes or not yet. She's never going to say no. You don't qualify. You're not good enough. That's what a lot of people are scared of. That's not what she's going to do. There's no judgment from her, okay? We've had these discussions. Right, Miss Debbie? So it's nothing like that. She's going to say, okay, you're not quite there yet. Here's what you need to do in order to get where you're going to need to go. And here's the steps, and here's how long approximately it's going to take. And she walks with you through the process. Now, if you're really far along, long way from the process, like I wouldn't even loan you a library book, totally fine. Totally fine. We happen to be at a library today. There are other things that we can get for you, such as we are facilitating the class for Dave Ramsey coming up, the Financial Peace University. We're doing this in our office. We're doing one class in October, and then we're doing one in January because a lot of people feel the pain of the holidays come January. So we're going to help them out with that. But this is basically how to figure out budgeting, how to figure out the basics of personal finance. Again, judgment-free, how to not necessarily work on your credit, but try and get the stuff that's on your credit paid off. How to take control of your money. So this is through Dave Ramsey. It's a very, very well-known program, and we're just facilitating in our office. If you want to go to the class, you go to FPU, which is financialpeaceuniversity.com, and then it's EB933E, or just look for a Financial Peace University class in your area from their website. There are also classes online. So if you just want to do the online version, totally cool. It's one class per week. This is not some major commitment. And I think it's like $100 per couple for 8 weeks. And then you can go to as many of the classes as you want for a year, and it's all included. So I am a huge fan of what they teach. I love how they just go over the basics of budgeting. And I think no matter if you're a doctor, a lawyer, or working at Walmart, or working at Cracker Barrel, or whatever, everybody needs to know the basics of personal finance. So even if you qualify to buy a house, you might still want to go to the class. I love doing the class. It kind of helps keep me on task as well when I coordinate them. So you're helping me by coming to them anyway. All right, fun question. If you could pick one feature that you would be most excited to come home to every single day, what would that one feature be? So if you're on the chat, feel free to punch that in there. A pot filler?
Yeah, you know, pot filler.
Oh, behind the stove, the water thing. Yeah, that always freaks me out because like the stove and the electric and the gas and stuff, and then having the water, it's like, that's a huge no-no to me. But at the same time, that would be really cool to like fill pots like right there. It would be very, very convenient. So yeah, that's the thing, huh? That's your thing. Okay. Everybody has a thing. one person, it was like a built-in ice machine. She wanted it like under the cabinet, built-in ice machine. I'm like, that was her thing. So stuff like that you can put into a house after the fact if you want to do that. But yeah, kind of cool. All right. I will say we are going to mention it just a little bit. Big shout out to Ramona this morning. She brought to my attention that when I was doing this class on Saturday, I did not mention the fact that it's very different when you're buying new construction. It's like very, very different rules. Honestly, they have a very specific process depending on what builder you go with, and you have to go with their process because it's their houses, their rules apply. So some things may be quite different when you're going directly through the builder. You can still use a realtor. I would highly recommend that you use a realtor because they've gone through the process and they know when something's kind of sketchy and when it's not, and can help you and can walk you through the whole process and just make it a lot easier, especially if you're out of area and you want somebody to go over and take videos and pictures while you're not there. They can do that for you as well, which really helps, especially if you're building from the ground up. Spec homes, speculative homes, those are homes that are already built or almost built, and they're building them according to what they think you're going to want, and you get what you get. Or you can go ahead and say, I bought this land, here's the house I want you to build for me, and then they go ahead and build it. That's completely different. That is going to be a whole different process. So if you're going for either one of those, home building instead of just purchasing a resale, we don't say used houses, we say resale. But if you're buying a resale, that's really what we're talking about today. But if you have questions about buying a new construction home, then definitely talk to your realtor. Maureen will be more than happy to answer questions on that kind of stuff because it is very different. All right. Choosing your real estate agent. All right. The real estate agent is going to wear a bazillion different hats. They're going to try and make it as easy as possible for you. Half the stuff that they're doing, you're probably more than half, you're never going to know they're doing. They're going to try and make it very, very simple and easy for you. So if it's something you don't necessarily need to do or hear about or whatever, if they can take care of it for you, they're going to try and take care of it for you because you're already going to have an overwhelming amount of stuff to do with getting paperwork into the lender, or working on addendums or contracts, looking at the home inspections, all the stuff you're going to need to do. So if it's something simple that the realtor can negotiate or do on your behalf, that's what they're going to do. So it's a lot less stuff on you when you use a realtor, basically. All right, so picking that person is incredibly important. Okay, normally find somebody that is experienced and educated and wanting to help. And I would say Maureen is a very good example of that because she's out here doing this right now for you guys. She was out there in the summer heat putting up signs for this event. So she's going to go out there and she's going to work for you. So definitely hit her up because she is proving today that she's going to work for you. But definitely ask your questions, and see how many houses they've sold or how many years of experience they've had, or if it's their first house that they're selling, are they going to be working with their broker or something to have that experience firsthand? Check to make sure if the agent is working just with you or if they're also representing the seller. There are some variables with that. Some people really love to work with the person that's also listing the home. Sometimes they think they're going to get a better deal. Personally, I prefer not to work with the seller and the buyer. I like to work just with one of them because it's very hard to be loyal to both parties equally. It's not impossible, it's just difficult. So, and if I know the seller first and I've already written a contract with the seller and promising that I'm going to, do everything I can to get the house sold, and then I go to the buyer and I'm, working with them too, it just makes it a little more complicated. So it's not, they are working on the transaction. They want to get the transaction sold and everything, but definitely something to think about and to ask about. So you do you. Whatever you decide is totally up to you, but it is something to consider. Something else you want to consider is how you communicate with your agent. Do you want emails? Do you want text? Do you want phone calls? Do you want it daily? Do you want it hourly? Maybe that's something you should talk to your realtor beforehand so that they know not to bother you if you don't want phone calls and emails and stuff that frequently, or if you want to once a week and just get an update, like what exactly kind of communication, how often is important to know. So definitely go over that. All right. So once you have your realtor, what do you do then? Well, it's kind of like when you go grocery shopping at the store. Your realtor is driving you there. They're helping you maybe get the groceries into the cart, whatever. They're helping you. They're your shopping assistants. But what about your finances? Like, how do you know how many groceries you can purchase? That's where your lender comes in. Okay. You would not ask somebody to take you to the grocery store to get groceries when you don't know how many groceries you can get, what's in your wallet, what's on your credit card. Like, you have absolutely no idea what you can purchase. That is not a great way. That lends itself to being very embarrassing situation.
Correct.
Yeah, really embarrassing. So you don't want to do that. So once you got your realtor, she or he is going to say, okay, here is the lender I would recommend, or here's a few lenders I recommend. You talk to somebody like Miss Debbie, and she will tell you exactly what you could put in your shopping cart, basically, and how much it's going to cost you. Pretty cool, right? All right, so how much do you actually need of cash? That seems to be everybody's worry. How much do you need to have in cash in order to actually purchase a home? Okay, keep in mind, if you're renting a home, we already established you're going to need at least $5,000, at least, to move into a rental home. How much do you need to actually buy a home? First, you're going to need, once you find the house, it is the one, you're going to live there for the rest of your life. Statistically, no, you're not. You're going to live there 2 to 5 years, but let's just leave that alone for now. She's laughing because she knows it's true. It totally is. Everybody's like, this is my forever home. And then they move out like 3 years later. It's like, okay, cool. Because your life changes. It changes a lot and it changes often. And it is almost impossible to find a house that is going to fit every season and stage of your life for 30 years. You're going to go through a lot of seasons and a lot of stages. So it is your for right now house. That is what you're looking for. So for right now, that is your perfect home. Okay, cool. Going to go ahead and get that for right now perfect home. It already fits in the budget that you've established. Cool. But what kind of cash are you going to need? How much are you going to need to set aside for that? Okay, well, when you do the contract, your realtor is going to sit down with you. She's going to go through all of that with you. You're going to need to put something called earnest money deposit. How much do you want to put as an earnest money deposit? Well, it's to show that you're serious. It's just going to sit in this little separate bank account, normally over at the title company or whatever. No, I'm not putting it in my pocket. It doesn't go to me. It goes to this little safe, secure escrow account over normally at the title company or attorney's office. Normally, I see like about $1,000. That's pretty much what is kind of normal. There is no standard amount you have to put in. Some places it's like, oh, you got to put like a 1% or 10% or what, 5%. There is nothing like that. It's what you and the seller feel comfortable with for earnest money. So $2,500, $1,000. I've seen $500 before, but you have to put something in that earnest money. Okay. Please, the financial person. Yes, please.
Because the seller is taking it off the market with that deposit.
That is true. So what happens with that deposit? Well, it's your money. You are most likely going to get it applied towards your closing costs at the end of the transaction. However, if you decide to just go totally flaky on the day before closing and for no reason whatsoever, you're like, you know what? I don't feel like it. The grass is not as green. The sky is not as blue. I just don't feel like it. And you just walk away. Well, you've taken that house off the market from that seller and taken away the opportunity for the seller to sell it to somebody else for at least 30 days. So the seller gets that money. Piece of cake, right? Very easy to understand. What if you don't, you did all this stuff and for some reason something happens with your finances, something weird, I don't know, your truck implodes, like, I don't know, whatever. For some reason, you can't close. Well, if it's because you cannot get approved for the loan, there's actually a clause in most contracts that say that you can go ahead and walk away and you get that money back up to a certain point. Normally, it's like 20 days, 25 days, something like that. But if it's like the day before, kiss the money goodbye. Just don't. Now, what if you go in and you're like, okay, well, the house was presented this way, but it's actually this way. That is okay. There is something called an inspection period. All right, so that is where we go into step 3. So we've got talk to your realtor, step 1. Step 2 is to go ahead and talk to your lender, make sure you have what you have and all of that. Step 3 is we're going to go ahead and pay that EMD. Sorry. And then step 4 is we're going to get the home inspector. The home inspector in the home inspection period, normally it's about 15 days. Sometimes if you want to be a little more aggressive with your contract, you could say 10 days. I have seen shorter, like 7 days, but that's not what I would recommend because it puts a rush on things. And this is one of the biggest investments in your life. So you probably shouldn't put a rush on that kind of stuff. Okay. All right. So what happens in a home inspection? Well, you're going to have a whole slew of home inspectors that you can choose from. They come at different prices. You are going to need to pay for the home inspection. So you are going to need that in cash. So you've got your EMD, your earnest money deposit, that you're going to have to pay in cash, maybe about $1,000. If you're buying new construction, it's whatever the new construction the builder requires. So it could be $5,000, it could be $7,000, it could be $2,000. Those are some of the builders that I know what they charge. If you're doing resale, $1,000, $2,000, somewhere in there is the norm. Okay, so you have that cash set aside. You also have to pay for the home inspector. Home inspector, right around 500. Let's say about $500, give or take. If you have a big, massive house or a whole bunch of buildings and you also want them to inspect the pool and you want them to inspect like 50 bazillion things, it's going to be more expensive. Everything that you add to the list of things that you want them to inspect adds to the price. So normally 3-2 cookie cutter home is going to be right around $400 to $500, give or take, right? Am I off? That's about what it is. Yeah, so 3,000 square foot house. Yeah, so there are some things that you can add to it. Wind mitigation report, I would highly recommend because the guy is already going up there. He's probably not going to charge that much more to go up there, and that's going to be a big savings on your insurance, and it's good for 5 years. So definitely ask him to do a wind mitigation report so that you can turn that into your home insurance and get a good discount. That's basically just them checking the roof to make sure that it has all of the things necessary so that the roof is up to code and doesn't blow away in the next storm. Also good to know for yourself, you know? I mean, yeah. Sure.
Because a lot of people question that. They can use that will be credited back to them when they do close for
Yes.
down payment, closing costs.
Yes. That is, yeah, it is your money. It is your money. So yes. So it sits in a separate account from the buyer and it sits from the seller. Nobody can touch it until there is established what's going to happen. So it is your money. It's not going to just go away. It's just kind of mandatory hold, basically. So it sits in an account. But at the end, you get it back. It goes towards your closing costs. You might not even have to do closing costs. We'll get into that. But if you don't have to do closing costs, then you will just get a check back at the end, or they'll wire it right into your account. You just get it back. It's pretty cool. All right, so we've gone over the home inspection. What happens with the home inspection? You pay the home inspector, very important, pay them. And within about 24 hours, they're going to give you this really, really, really in-depth report of everything that they checked and everything that's wrong with the house. And normally, if it's something wrong with the house, they're going to put it in red, big arrows pointing to it and stuff. And then you're going to sit down with your realtor and renegotiate. You renegotiate multiple times. It's a lot of renegotiating. You negotiate the contract, but then you're also going to renegotiate for the home inspection. You're going to decide only a few options. You're either going to accept the house as is. You're like, you know what? It's a few small things. I can go ahead and take it like that. I'll fix it myself. Not a big deal. Or I already knew that. So, and I made the offer anyway. So whatever. Or you can say, hey, there's these issues with this house that I didn't know about, you didn't know about, but I'd like to have fixed. So could you go ahead and slide some cash at the end so that I could go ahead and get that stuff taken care of? Cool. You're going to have the seller pay for it. Or you can say, I am not going to buy this house unless this stuff is fixed. You have until the closing to get this stuff done. Also an option. The other option is you're like, oh my God, this is a major money pit. I'm out. All of those are options. Those are about the only options. I don't think there's really any other thing you can really do. So you choose one of those, talk it over with your realtor, and decide what option you want to take and what can be negotiated. Cool. Once you decide, you know what, this is the house, we renegotiated the terms, we just decided to go ahead and move forward with whatever terms we decided, then you're going to do something called an appraisal. Okay, do not do the appraisal before the home inspection. It is huge. Do not skip back and forth with the steps. You have to do the steps in order. Why am I saying that? Well, you have to pay for the appraisal. The appraisal, what are they running now? About $450, $500. Okay, you have to pay for the appraisal. What if you pay for the appraisal and then you do the home inspection, you find a whole bunch of crazy stuff is wrong and the seller is not going to fix it, not going to help you with it, and you're like, I'm out. You've now lost the money for the appraisal. You do not get that back. So do the home inspection first, make sure that the house is sound and that you're happy with it and you're going to move forward with the deal. And then you call your lender up and you say, I would like to go ahead and order the appraisal. Do it in that order. Okay. And your lender and your real estate agent is going to help you remember all the steps, and they're going to help you stay to the steps in the order. Okay. So you got that. They're going to do something at the title company or the attorney, depending on which one you do. Doesn't matter. They're going to do something called a title search, and they're going to make sure that the title is in from the person it's supposed to be, and it's in their name properly and legally, and it's going to your name, and there's no issues, there's no liens, there's no weird stuff. They call it a cloud on the title. Maybe somebody passed away 3 generations back and there's this cousin that comes out of the woodwork and is like, hey, it's my house too. That would be a cloud on the title. And yeah, that has happened. So, or sometimes maybe there was a lien because the seller didn't pay a credit card and now there's like this weird floating money that somebody's demanding. All of that has to be taken care of before you can go to closing. The title company is going to take care of that. They're the ones holding your escrow money. In a lot of states, it is mandatory or more common to use an attorney's office. We go either way here. I think more common is to go to a title company here. I go to a title company like 9 times out of 10, but you can also go to an attorney's office as well to do the closing. It's whatever makes you happy. It's whatever you want to do. All right, so mark down. Are you keeping track of your budget here? You need to have your earnest money deposit, about $1,000. You need to have your inspection money, about $500, and you need to have your appraisal money, about $500. Miss Debbie, can people put that on their closing costs? The appraisal has to be part of the closing cost. Okay, so don't necessarily have to have that at the time that the appraisal is ordered. You may be able to go ahead and just stick that with the closing costs at the end. And that is a huge differential because sometimes, often in this market, your real estate agent could go ahead and have the seller pay your closing costs. So it's not coming out of your pocket. That's huge. That is huge. Very, very, very important. All right. Once you got the appraisal back and they say, this is good, this house is worth what you're paying for it, what we're loaning on it, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next step. So what is the next step? The next step is you're going to order something called a survey. A survey is going to tell you what land you're getting. It's going to make sure that the shed that's out in the yard is actually on your yard and it's not actually the neighbor's yard, or if the fence is there, where the fence is and whose fence it is, and all of the trees, who owns the trees, which are really important if they fall over. All of that stuff, really super important. It's good to know exactly what you're purchasing, and it is impossible to know without a survey. You might see fenced backyard and you're like, well, obviously the fence is mine and there's my backyard. That is not actually the truth. Sometimes people don't get a survey before they put a fence up. And then your fence is not actually your fence. It's actually the neighbor's fence and they don't like the fence and they want to take it down. Well, if it's on their property, they can. So those are the kind of things you want to avoid by getting a survey. Now, one major thing that I will say when you're doing new construction, the survey is normally already provided and taken care of because they had to have a survey when they built the house. So generally that's already in there. Most of the time these days, this is getting put on your closing. You don't have to pony that money up front, but just in case you do, what are surveys running? 500?
350 on a regular house.
Yeah, so maybe we'll say 400. Put it in the middle. So we'll say on a quarter acre lot, we're going to say about 400 bucks. Cool. All right. So keeping track of your money, we got about $1,000 EMD. We got about 500 bucks for your inspection. We got another 500-ish for your appraisal. And then we've got 400 for your survey. Everybody keeping up? Okay, cool. When you get to the closing, again, you can go ahead and negotiate through your realtor on your contract ahead of time and go ahead and have the seller pay your closing costs. You can also have a program called down payment assistance, DPAs. Ms. Debbie, you have a lot of different programs that have down payment assistance. What are some, you want to talk about some of your favorites? Yes, please. Because they change all the time depending on who has the money. So let's have Miss Debbie come up and talk about it.
So let's talk about down payment assistance and
Yes.
bond programs that are out there in Florida. So, am I supposed to come up here?
There we go. Perfect.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Right now, if you haven't heard about it, in Florida, we have hometown heroes that is going to come out effective with the 18th of the month, which I believe is Monday. So what does that do? That gives you up to $35,000 to be used for your down payment, closing costs. There are particulars for this. It's called Hometown Heroes for a reason. So limited to, so if you're a firefighter, a police officer, a teacher in the healthcare industry, if you're even a CNA in the healthcare, anything that has a relatable and available profession to qualify for Hometown Heroes would be available for that. Another great, and that money's going to go fast. So we got allotted for the state of Florida because it's budgeted, and Governor DeSantis just approved it. So we have so much money, but it goes for the whole state of Florida. So that money's going to go really quick. So if you're in the market to maybe look at utilizing that product, you need to get with us really quick and get your loan, your application submitted, let you go through underwriting so that we can secure those funds as quick as possible. If you're not in one of those limited professions for Hometown Heroes, we have bond money, and that money does not run out. So what that is a grant. It's $10,000 that's given to you, again, to use towards your closing costs and or your down payment. The really cool thing in this market right now, especially with the agents that I work with, they're so smart because we have a true buyer's market right now. So this is a great time to buy. What you need to understand is if you have, a $250,000 house and we give you $10,000 for the down payment, and Maureen goes, okay, well, we're going to go FHA, she can get up to 6% seller concessions, which will cover all of your closing costs. So you would literally be walking in with the cost of the inspection that Andrea just talked about, and that's really it. So you could get into a house with literally no money if you use this program. What is a bond? It's going to be a silent second mortgage on your property, zero interest, zero payments. You make no payments until you transfer the property. So if you sell it, refinance it, that $10,000 gets paid back, but at a zero interest rate. You can't borrow money for zero, right? You can on this program. Or at the end of 30 years, if you're still in that house, that's when you're going to have to pay it back. So lots of different opportunities. We have minimum score requirements for these bonds. We have programs that will give you the down payment assistance with lower scores. So there's just a great variety of products for you to help you with that down payment and closing costs. So the best thing to do is get your application started, because I'm going to go over every option that's available to you with those down payment assistance programs.
What are some of the scores that people are looking at?
So the standard USDA, which you can add all these to USDA, FHA, VA, 640 to get down payment assistance. Prime Lending has proprietary down payment assistance, same thing, 10,000 that we can go down to as low as 600. So same parameters. You have to be a first-time home buyer to get the grants and the Hometown Heroes. And what that means is you cannot have owned a house for the last 3 years. If you've owned a house 5 years ago and sold it 5 years ago, you qualify as a first-time home buyer. With our proprietary program, Prime Lending Edge, you do not have to be a first-time home buyer. You don't have income limits because all the other programs also require certain income limits based on your family size. So if you don't fit into any of those programs that would normally put you into any type of down payment assistance program, we do also offer one that helps people who don't have the profession, don't have the score, and aren't a first-time home buyer. So super awesome programs. People use them all the time. If you want to get into something like that, I would highly recommend you take advantage of it. You're never going to know all the answers till you call me.
Pretty much. Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
See, this is why I have people. They come in and answer all those questions. I have no idea what the credit score is for purchasing a home, but all right, let's see. What are you teaching? We are, somebody says, Miss Debbie. Apparently they know Miss Debbie. Okay. Oh, no, I took the microphone back with me and they're like, we can't hear you. So I was, I got it taken care of. I was hogging the mic. It's okay. It's, it's a little different when you're wearing it. Anyway, so yeah, she is the person, she knows all of this stuff. So feel free to reach out to Miss Debbie. Miss Debbie, you want, what's your email or phone number? What do you want to share?
Either or
Both. 352 433 7846. Okay, well, there we go. So go ahead and give her a call and be like, hey, I just want to check and see what I can do because I don't know yet. I have absolutely no clue about any of this, and just hold my hand, walk me through. She's good. She'll get you taken care of. Maureen, what's your number? I don't know. Yeah, phone number. 352 362 8818. Man, you would think I would have that one memorized. That was an easy one. But yeah, if you need help from Maureen or Miss Debbie to get this process started, or if you just have questions or something like that, they are available to help you. They are here to help you today. This is our thing today or tomorrow or whenever. You got this. All right. So, I don't know. I think it's my laptop making noise. I don't know. Okay. Moving on. All right. What is the next thing on your list? You've got your closing costs figured out. You've got your house figured out. You've got the inspection figured out, the survey figured out. Okay. You're going to want to talk to a home insurance company, and you're going to want to get some quotes on how to get home insurance or what it's going to cost to get home insurance on the house. If you don't know any home insurance people, that is perfectly fine. You call up your realtor and say, I think I need a home insurance at this point, because you need to have that in order to close on the house. So just make sure, quick phone calls, find out what the insurance is, you're good to go. And you're going to need that in order to get the loan. So might want to take care of that. Now keep in mind, you're going to have like a month to do all of this stuff. I don't know. Some of you guys might be panicking going, I only have 1 month, but no, seriously, it's a lot of time. It's plenty of time to get this stuff done. And oh yeah. Trust me, they're going to be calling you. You're like, all right, where is this piece of paper? Did you get this? Did you look at the home inspection? Like, let's check this stuff out. Yeah, so that's all the stuff that you're going to be needing to do. All right. One of the last steps is called a walkthrough. A walkthrough inspection. It is not with a home inspector. It is just you physically going in with the realtor to the house and making sure that the ceiling is still up there and the floor is still down there, and making sure that it hasn't, caught fire or something happened to it. Also, to make sure that the seller moved out of the property. I cannot tell you how many times I've gone to a walkthrough and their stuff is still there and they're like, we're almost done. So sometimes we have to delay the closing if they're not on the ball with that kind of stuff. But you want to make sure because once you go to the closing table and you get your keys and you sign the documents on the dotted line, the house is now yours, even though there still might be somebody in there. So you don't want to have that situation. You want to go ahead and have a walk-through inspection. You just go in and walk through. Now, if there were some repairs that the seller agreed to do, you want to go ahead and check those repairs were done. So let's say if the water heater needed to be replaced and the seller agreed to do that, and then you go in on the walkthrough, which is normally day before or day of closing, you can go in and see if the water heater was replaced. Cool. Normally they'll send you a picture beforehand, but again, you want to check these things for yourself. You also want to make sure that what you're buying is actually what was advertised and contracted for, because once in a while, some sellers might get confused and they may decide to take the big and then leave you with something from, I don't know where, the scratch and dent warehouse or something, and it's now some kind of like mini fridge that you wouldn't even put in an RV. So you want to make sure that what you are buying is accurate. That kind of stuff happens fairly frequently. Maybe it's in the contract that you're supposed to get the washer and dryer and the seller just forgot and took them with them. Okay, well, that's all really important. Do it ahead of time is because you want to have at least 3 days to review those financial documents. So when you go to the closing table, chances are you've already seen a lot of this stuff and you're already familiar with it, and now it's just making it official, basically. Okay, so a lot of the times the title company will have you do something called a pre-closing. They're going to get you a lot of the paperwork and e-sign as much of it as possible. So it goes from a stack like this to a stack like this, which is very nice. We appreciate it. When you get to the closing table, they are going to explain every single document. You're not going to sign anything unless you know what it is. You're going to have everything is notarized, all of that. You're going to go ahead and sign everything. That's when you're going to pay anything that is unpaid. So if you didn't have closing costs included, or if you didn't have, your down payment assistance, then you're going to go ahead and pay your down payment. They will let you know ahead of time with those financials how much you're going to bring to the closing table. But yeah, for first-time home buyers to come in and do a closing, oftentimes you don't actually have to bring anything because you're going to have all of that negotiated out and figured out well ahead of time, and you're going to have a down payment assistance program, or the seller's paying the closing costs, or whatever. Cool. So you go in, you got your keys. Awesome. Do not forget to turn in your homestead exemption after closing. You only have a certain amount of time. You have to do it before the taxes go out for the next year. Otherwise, you are paying as an investor, even though you're living in the home as your homestead. So in Florida, you get this handy dandy coupon called a homestead exemption if you can prove you're going to be living in the house, in your home. It is a sizable discount, probably around $1,000 off of your property taxes for the year. All you have to do is let the property appraiser know that you are living there by showing your driver's license with your new address in it and showing that you are paying utility bills there. That's basically it. You've now proven that that is your home, and you get a huge savings on your taxes. So please do not forget to do that. It is done after you actually purchase the house, and actually after you've put your correct address on your driver's license, as you're supposed to do within 10 days by law. Once you do that, go quickly over and get that done so that you can get that sizable discount. Do not forget. Please, please, please do not forget. All right. Did I forget anything? Maureen always catches me. Did I got it? I got all of them. Okay. If I forgot anything, or if you have questions, or if you want to go to the Financial Peace University classes at our office, or if you want to get this lovely workbook that has all different options and all sorts of stuff in it. Or if you want like the referral, all the stuff, we will send you all the stuff. Just send us an email, GER.ExpectMore@gmail.com, or go ahead and give Miss Debbie or Miss Maureen over here a phone call and they will get you taken care of. Cool. All right. Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us on the live or watching our video, and we will see you next time. Bye.